This episode of the Beaute Industrie podcast was brought to you by Venus Concept Australia. Hello and welcome to the Beaute Industrie podcast, your online support community for the professional beauty industry. I am your host, founding director of Beaute Industrie, Tamara Reid. Here we are closing the competitive gap and speaking your language. This is a platform created and dedicated to the professional beauty industry, valuing community over competition. We serve to help connect you with inspiration from industry experts, expand your knowledge through educational pieces, and bring you the latest in product and technology innovation. This is Beaute Industrie. Today, my guest is you. That's right, today's episode is a little different to what you normally hear from me. However, just as much important, if not more important than our regular episodes, because it features you. On the 30th of November or the first day of December every single year as a business owner, I sit down with myself and my business and host a strategic reflection session. Now, the name probably sounds a little bit more serious than it is, and in fact, it's really just me sitting in a quiet space with myself, thinking about my actions, behaviors, movements, and reflections on the year that was, and how I'm going to intentionally move into the new year that is about to be. And I thought it might be really useful for you, given the state that we have traveled throughout life and business and operations and all of the things this year. You can actually do this session alone through listening to me guide you today or another day. You might like to do it with your manager over coffee or champagne, or you might even like to host it with your team as a personal or professional development session. Now, the importance of this session is to bring awareness to the way that you operate. Your brand, your business, and your clients are an extension of you. So understanding how you operate will highlight some of the reasons as to why things are happening around you the way that they are, or maybe the way that they have been. You might like to grab a pen and paper, or even your phone if you're not going to get distracted, and write down the answers to these questions in this session today. Or you might just like to tune in and answer the questions as we go. Now remember to be gentle with yourself. This is not a competition or a test or anything like that. It's simply just a strategic exercise to bring you back to consciously creating the pathway which you want your brand, your business, and your clients to play out. Some sticky, emotional, or mind-shifting thoughts might come up for you today, and that's completely fine. Note them. Ask them how they're sitting with you today and for what purpose they're serving you to be brought up, aka what's the lesson here in this sticky thought? Okay, so to get started, I'd like to check in with you this morning. What I would like to do is ask you to think of the two first words that pop into your head when I ask, how are you today? Now, those two words that popped into your head are your two unconscious thoughts. They're things that we don't consciously think about. They're the first two things that you didn't even have to think about. They might be tired and happy, or content and ready, or energized and lively. Whatever they are, register them. That is more than okay. I'm about to take you through 20 questions to check in with yourself for this strategic session, and all of these questions are in the show notes if you feel like pausing at any time or if you feel like writing them down. Question number 1. Are you ready? It's a biggie. What have you learnt about the world this year? Big one to start with. What have you learnt about the world this year? For me, I learned that when the world slows down and pauses around me, then it's time for me to take that advice. What have you learnt about the world this year? Okay, moving on to question number 2. What have you learnt about people this year? There's been a lot of words said, a lot of behaviours shown, lots of people have shown up or moved away. What have you learnt about people this year? Third question. What's been your biggest challenge this year? Goodness me, there have been some challenges this year, that's for sure. It might not have been COVID. It might have been team, people, money, stress. Might have been a lot of different things. Might have been maybe you thought you were an introvert and you're actually an extrovert. What has been your biggest challenge this year? Number 4, what has inspired you this year? Through the resilience and resistance of the pandemic, there's been some pretty damn magical spaces. There's been lots of silver linings, lots of leaders come out, lots of inspiration to have been found. I'm interested to know what has inspired you this year. In the matters of dark, what have you found light in? What has inspired you this year? Number 5, what have you learnt about yourself? There's been a lot of time to stop and think and reflect and learn and grow. What have you learnt about yourself? Maybe you've shown up. Maybe you have been stable or conscious or considered or strong or supportive. What have you learnt about yourself this year? Number 6, what have you learnt in a practical sense? A practical sense is maybe a new skill that you've learnt. So what have you learnt in a practical sense? There's been lots of trainings, lots of online learnings, lots of podcasting, videos, Zoom lessons, business building, team building, educational building. What have you learnt in a practical sense? I learnt how to paint the house. What have you learnt in a practical sense? Number 7. What experience of loss have you experienced this year? Now, when we sit down and ask ourselves this question, this could be a bit of a sticky one. This is one of those ones where we even might feel our eyes well up or we get a little bit sweaty in our hands because there's been a lot of loss this year. What experience of loss have you experienced this year? Number 8, what do you believe you have gained this year? There again has been so much resilience. There have been, referring to the latter question, there's been a lot of friendships lost, a lot of partnerships lost, a lot of financial relationships lost. But what have you gained this year? What have you gained throughout those losses? Have you gained a sense of self? Have you gained some confidence? Have you gained some strength? Have you been a little bit proud of the way you've operated? Have you gained some intelligence? Maybe you've used this time to brush up on your theory. Maybe you've gained some emotional intelligence because you've been watching the way that others around you behave or react or respond. Number 8, what do you believe you have gained this year? Moving on to number 9, what are you most proud of yourself for? What are you most proud of yourself for? Maybe you just made it to the end of the year, and that deserves a high five too. And you can be most proud of that. Maybe you've just held your shit together for 365 days, and that's awesome. I'll be proud of you for that. What are you most proud of yourself for? Remember, there's no right or wrong answers. This is all about you and the way that you've shown up, the way that you've led, the way that you've acted, the way that you've behaved, the way that you move intentionally into the coming days, weeks, and months. Speaking about being strategic, perhaps one of your strategic moves this year has been to introduce machinery or modalities into your space to broaden your service offering for your clients. If so, then you will love today's Beaute partner. Community, I am beyond excited to introduce to you the latest in laser hair removal, the EpiLeave, an innovative new tabletop device and the latest to launch from Venus Concept Australia. Venus EpiLeave has been brought to market to fill the gap between skin and aesthetic clinics being able to provide laser hair removal services for their clients as a cost-effective and easy-to-use tabletop solution that will generate a positive return on investment to aesthetic practices. EpiLeave's design has clearly been well thought out. It's refreshingly compact, taking up only a small footprint on your benchtop or cupboard, and complements even the smallest spaces, perfect for compact tables or trolleys that wheel between treatment rooms. The device features a foot switch for safety, of course, and its ergonomic applicator is designed for left and right hand use so that every therapist in your clinic feels comfortable when using it. Preset parameters and an auditory guidance system make it incredibly easy to operate and ensure the results are more predictable and consistent from client to client. Venus Concept have designed EpiLeave with affordability in mind and offer financing options suitable for all investment and repayment levels with their unique subscription acquisition plan, a fully customizable interest-free monthly payment plan with no hidden cost, which is absolutely incredible. Get in touch with the team by visiting www.venusconcept.com/au to learn more. Thank you so much to the team at Venus Concept for making this episode of the Beaute Industry podcast possible. And now let's dive back into the last 10 questions. Question number 10. Who are 3 people who have supported you this year? And that support can come in a number of ways. Maybe they have physically shown up for you in your space. Maybe they've helped you move business or premise if you've had to do that. Maybe they have just cried with you. Maybe they have FaceTimed you, checked in with you, or texted you, or sent you something lovely. Or just been there to call and go, hey, checking in, are you okay? Who are 3 people who have supported you this year? And if you can think of 3 people who have supported you this year, please tell them. Please tell them. Reach out to them and say, hey, you have been my rock this year. I don't know how I would have got through without you. Thank you so much for showing up and being in my life. You are the most special person I can have, and I'm so damn lucky. Please tell them. Give them a little pat on the back, because supporting other people is not easy. So if you've had 3 special people who have supported you, that is really, really special. Let's say special one more time, Tamara. Number 11, in the theme of support, how did you support others this year? And that's not easy to do. That's absolutely not easy to do when you're in a global pandemic, when you're in a recession. It's hard to support ourselves, let alone how we support others. And that's why this question exists. How did you support others this year? Number 12. What are 3 words you would use to describe your life right now, in this very moment? What are 3 words you would use to describe your life right now in this very moment. One of them might be chaotic as we head into Christmas. One of them might be refreshed if you're doing this in January. 3 words you would use to describe your life right now. Question number 13 is a little bit of a visionary question. If you were to describe a vision for your perfect life in a sentence, what would that sentence be? It's a biggie. Have a think about your perfect life. What does that look like? How do you wake up? Who are you waking up, if anyone, next to anybody? How do you go throughout your day? What do your clients look like? What do the people around you look like? Who are you spending all of that time with? Are you leaving the house? Are you going to a space? Are you going to a business? Are you building a brand? Do you have a brand? Maybe you don't have a business. Maybe you've just got clients. What does that perfect life look like when you get home? Are you cooking? Are you not cooking? What does your house look like? What does it smell like when you walk in the front door? My question for you is, if you were to describe a vision for your perfect life in a sentence, what would that sentence be? Number 14. What mindset shift would you need to have to bring this vision to life? So for example, when I said, are you cooking dinner? Maybe you went, of course I'm cooking dinner, because I couldn't afford to pay somebody to cook my dinner. So my question for you, number 14, is, well, what mindset shift would you need to have to bring this vision to life? Maybe that mindset shift would be that it's okay to get somebody else to cook your dinner for you. So have a think about what you need to shift to bring your vision of your perfect life to fruition. How can we make that happen? Number 15. What would you need to stop doing to move towards this vision of life? What do you need to stop doing? Maybe you need to stop making excuses. Maybe it's time to stop procrastinating. Maybe it's time to stop eating unhealthily. Maybe it's time to stop talking negatively towards yourself. What do you need to stop doing to move towards this vision of your life? And on the flip side of that, number 16, what do you need to start doing to move towards this vision of your life? What do you need to start doing? Maybe you need to start waking up earlier. Maybe you need to start thinking more. Maybe you need to start thinking more about others. Maybe you need to start moving your body. Maybe you need to start eating healthy. Maybe you need to start working on your business more. Maybe you need to start developing your team more. What do you need to start doing to move towards this vision of your life? And you know what? We're not alone. Question number 17. What support do you need to move towards this vision? So you've got your vision. You know what you've got to stop doing to make the vision happen. You know what you've got to start doing to make the vision happen. Now, what support do you need to move forward into this vision? Is it people? Is it resources? Is it time? Is it money? Is it mindset? What support do you need to move into this vision and make it happen? Lots of thoughts traveling around, I'm sure. Number 18. What are your top 3 priorities moving into next year? the 3 things you want to make happen and put them at the top of your list. What are your top 3 priorities moving into next year? It might be just to navigate the tricky waters which we're about to face, because we don't know what those waters look like, right? That's why they're tricky. Maybe you want to just have a better year than this year. Maybe you want to have a better mindset this year. Maybe you want to start choosing and selecting the people who surround you and support you, because you're the average sum of how they show up. Maybe you've got some big goals. What are your top 3 priorities moving into next year? Number 19, thinking about the year ahead. I love this question so much. What will be the first action you take to make a bold step into the new year? Thinking about the year ahead, what will be the first action you take to make a bold step into the new year? Maybe you've got to hire somebody, or fire somebody, or tell somebody you love them, or divorce somebody, or take a huge leap in your business. Maybe you've got to open a second space, or a new space, or an old space. Maybe you've got to reach out to your clients, reach out to your team, reach out to your family. What will be the first action you take to make a bold step into the new year? And question number 20, here we are. Think about one word, any one word which you want to keep handy moving forward into the next few weeks or the year or the days, whatever time you're listening to this. One word which you'll base your decisions around, you'll run your values aligned to, and you'll take into consideration when you need an answer for something. And you know what? People don't need an answer right now. You can sleep on it. And when you sleep on it, go home, think about this word, have a little reflection, align, wake up the next morning and go, do you know what? I'm going to say yes. Or actually, that decision is not serving me right now. I'm going to say no. Or maybe it's not a no. Maybe it's a not right now. So that one word which you're going to keep handy, you can write it down on a post-it note. That's what I do. Stick it on my computer. Keep handy with you moving forward into the new year. Last year, my word was considered. So the way that I've moved in 2020 has been very considered. And I'm going to think of a new word moving into 2021. And you can use this new word to move intentionally into your newfound strategic thinking. So there we have it. If you have never completed a strategy session, pat yourself on the back, my friend, because we just got there together. Or maybe you've done strategy sessions before that have been a little bit different to this. And then I hope you enjoyed this one today. Remembering there are no right or wrong answers in this session. It's for you and for your ears only. So the way that you show up, the way that you've answered these questions, all speaks volumes about your characteristics, the way you behave, and the way others perceive you. Yeah? This is not for them. This is for you. So you can sit in it, you can write it down, you can have a think about it, you can burn it if you have written it down, you can throw it into the recycling bin, you can do whatever you want with it. But this is a nice session for you to check in with yourself. And if you're doing this with a team, this can be really, really powerful. Super powerful. There's generally one person in the team who cries, and that's okay, because remember how you're supporting them. And it's in the way that we support others, which that support is returned to us. So I hope you've enjoyed this session today. As I said, it's very different to what we normally do. But if you've loved it, please let me know. You can always tag me on Instagram at Tamara Reid Beaute, or you can share this across your stories at beauteindustry.com by tagging us. Or, of course, leave us a little review or a rating or subscribe. But we'll be back in your ear shortly with some more of our inspirational, out of this world guests who we've got lined up for you. But today, my guest was you. So thank you so much. Until next time, stay connected.